sky, to the energy that is. While we breathe, we're going to listen to Karen Drucker remind us, thank you for this day, Spirit.
And I think we acknowledge what completely gather together, whether in person or online, or watching at a different energy of our heart, allow us to open our heart and acknowledge changes in our life. Notice that there is welcome, the presence of the body that comforts our heart, that rises challenges, and also this is something of us seeing with using or and other things to God, open the way she allowed that. I know that thanks for all who are from us, knowing that the good that we share with others.
So it is. Thank you, Jan. It's likely that you read the Helena Center of Creative Living October newsletter. If you're like me, you might have skimmed it and thought, I'll come back and read it more thoroughly later. Lucky for you, I'm going to share the note that Reverend Jean started the newsletter with. Everyone is born with a set point of happiness. Just like you adjust the temperature in your heater, some of us are born with a low tolerance for happiness. Some lucky people have a high degree of happiness in their DNA. And each of us can adjust our happiness temperature through choice. Start by smiling more often. Even a gentle lifting of the corners of your mouth can lift up the energy in your body. Smile at the drivers next to you rather than any alternative sort of thing you might want to do. Smile at the people standing in the line getting a prescription. Work on smiling and perhaps whistling or humming a happy tune. Or even just humming, because that also increases your energy. Next, look at your daily choices. Are you happy with your choices? Do you let yourself decide whether you prefer Cheerios or oatmeal or something else? Do you feel better if you're wearing red or blue or orange or whatever? Would binge watching a series or curling up with a good book make you happier? These are not indulgent choices. These are the way that you increase your happiness set point. Now we look at our spiritual choices. Don't beat yourself up if you don't meditate. Don't beat yourself up if you don't smile or put on your walking shoes or head up the trail. Maybe it's time to release that need and the stack of books you won't get around to reading. Every choice you make for happiness improves your world, and it improves the world, the whole world. Let's just be happy with today, with this moment. Thank you, Jean. And Dolly Parton says, we cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust the sails. Right there. So let's see what adjusting the sails might look like. Maybe we can each find our own way to a new happiness set point. My topic is, because remember we have the one leaf as our theme, leave me alone. I'm figuring it out. Then I asked myself, am I? During the recent class that Reverend Charles held on the book, This Thing Called You, he gave us a mini history of Ernest Holmes, the author of that book. Ernest was born in 1887 into a life of poverty in Maine. He had 8 older brothers. Can you imagine being the 9th brother? He probably never had a single new thing in his life. They were raised Baptist, but, and this is a huge but to me, they were taught to question everything. I wasn't allowed to question things in my life. I was told the answer. So I really appreciate that someone raised Baptist is allowed to question. When Holmes was a teenager, he started asking, what is God? Who am I? Why am I here? He was widely known as the eternal question mark. He was curious about everything, challenged the local preachers, and doubted the answers he got in church. Holmes developed his own theory of prayer, which was not to convince or persuade God to grant his desire, but to change one's own consciousness. That is what we call spiritual mind treatment. We've all heard the quote from Meister Eckhart, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Today we started with Karen Drucker singing thank you. I love that song so much and sometimes drive my lovely husband Bob crazy because I sing it and I sing thank you for this food, thank you for the blue sky, thank you for, and it changes my energy. I have lifted my spirits many times and making up words in that song. It's very fun. It is possible that when we are saying thank you as a prayer, we are changing our consciousness to a consciousness of gratitude. But what if saying thank you isn't enough sometimes to feel that deep gratitude that we're looking for? Let's examine that. Do you know why I say yes to giving a talk for church? Neither do I. I think it's character building, good for me. I go through some agony writing it. I mean, like a lot of agony. Here's the thing. I study all these methods for not allowing that to happen. But when giving an assignment like this, I drop back into that old mindset of stinking thinking. It's just too hard. I don't know what to say. So let's see if I can turn this around. One of the things I wanted to talk about is a book I've been reading called The Only Prayer You Need by Deborah Landwehr Engel. The only prayer you need. Now, Meister Eckhart says the only prayer you need is thank you. She has another idea. This prayer is saying the words, please heal my fear-based thoughts. Please heal my fear-based thoughts. When we ask for our fear-based thoughts to be healed, we're asking to replace fear with love and acceptance. When our thoughts are healed, we no longer need the lesson and the circumstances or issue go away. That's truly the secret. And it's right in line with Ernest Holmes' idea of changing one's consciousness. Here's her story. The author's husband was driving her car when a driver hit the door. And it was dented. They had to take it into a shop to have it repaired, and they drove a rental. They were finally going back to get the car, and she was thrilled to get her own car back. But driving it, she found the door still rattled. There was a wind sound from the window, from somewhere she couldn't identify. Very annoying noises were happening. Every piece of this made her feel more angry. Angry at her husband for driving the car when someone hit it, angry at the driver who hit the car, angry at the dealership for not fixing it correctly. You know how we can get, blow that, make that little molehill into a mountain. The list went on and included things she'd been angry about before this even happened. She realized that she wanted to see things differently, and the only option that seemed feasible was to ask for help. She found herself being guided to say, please heal my fear-based thoughts. Please heal my fear-based thoughts. She'd never said that before. It just showed up. But she was in pain and turned to her higher power for healing, and those words came through. When her husband joined her in the vehicle, she listed the things that were a problem. She went through the whole laundry list. He was trying to be very helpful and said, "Anything else?" "No," she said, "but you'll hear the rattles when I start driving." They started to drive, and there weren't any rattles. Not from the windows, not from the door. They kept driving and both said, "I haven't heard anything, have you?" They made it all the way home while still listening for a problem and hearing none. Later, she started to hear her inner voice talking, saying, "When you ask for your thoughts to be healed, the external triggers for those thoughts are no longer needed. And so the rattles go away." Her aha, a change in my internal perception just shifted my external environment. Sounds like Wayne Dyer, doesn't it? Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. When we ask for our fear-based thoughts to be healed, we're asking to replace fear with love and acceptance. When our thoughts are healed, we no longer need the lesson, and the circumstances or issues go away. When the author told her husband about the prayer, they sat down and listed everything that they were angry about. And then they spent the next 30 minutes or so asking to change their fear-based thoughts around each item. The real miracle here is the change in our minds that make it possible to live a life of joy and peace rather than one of struggle and internal chaos. We don't need to fix the problem. We need to have our thoughts about the problem change. When we do that, there's no longer a need for the lesson. Whatever issue needed to be fixed or healed will no longer be an issue. Please heal my fear-based thoughts. It sounds kind of simple, but I can tell you that I have occasionally remembered to use it. Occasionally remembered being the operative words here. So am I figuring it out? In some ways, yes. And the journey continues, and trusting and asking for guidance continues. How to remember to use the tools we have? How do you? When asking myself this question, I thought, I think I made a box. So you guys know me, I have show and tell. Here's my box. I made it, I don't know how long ago, probably with Sandra Gale Pearson, because she and I do this kind of thing together. And I opened my box and started pulling out some of the pieces, like a Qigong move that's called connecting heaven and earth. Oh, that's a nice way to bring yourself back into your own body. The power stance. Do you know the power stance? Jean does. I know she does because she uses it. Stand like this and see if anything looks so scary when you're using your power stance, right? There's more. There's some tapping things, like you can tap in messages, tap them in. A lot of EFT or Donna, what's her name? Uses it. Eden, Donna Eden. Yeah, you know, that lady. Things like that. And then a heartfulness meditation. This is beautiful. You can sit or lay down. Give your attention to your heart. Let's do this. Just sitting there. Put a gentle hand on your heart to feel the beat. Breathe into your heart. Just feel breathing in right there. Breathe in softness. Breathe in kindness. Breathe in warmth. Infuse your heart with those things. Breathe in gentleness. Breathe in relaxation. Allow these energies to infuse into your heart as if you were infusing them into water. You can open your eyes. Simple meditation. I'm going to use my box more often and remember that one. And then I have some lovely healing affirmations. Good health is my divine right. I am open and receptive to all the healing energies of the universe. I know that every cell in my body is intelligent and knows how to heal itself. My body is always working toward perfect health. Easy. How many times do we hear, especially Reverend Jean, say little mantras and think, oh, I want to, right? I want to remember those. They can go in your well-being box. And now my well-being box also says, please heal my fear-based thoughts. And just this morning, I stuck in the book, This Thing Called You. This is a simple book, impossibly hard to read, but the meditation, but not really. Impossibly hard to read when we block it, you know, but then you can read it. And his meditative words are incredible. Those of us that took Reverend Charles' class would all agree that we all got something out of this book. So that's now in my well-being box. What's in your well-being box? Kind of like what's in your wallet? Same theory. As we pass the baskets today, the Beatles will sing for us. So if you want to cue up the Beatles, all you need is love. Please heal my fear-based thoughts and see what else you can open up. Thank you for your generous support of our community, Helena Center of Creative Living. Our money supports our community. We also tied into fabulous things that we support. This abundance will bless us and all those who benefit from it. And so it is. And Mary is going to give us our announcements, and she'll be followed by Reverend Charles.
Sort of like the Blues Brothers.
Yes.
I guess what I want to say is Susan has done so many of us. And so many ways, but what I am really concentrating on is goodness first. And I just remember she was from Alabama, and then she would tell a story about family or anything happening in the South. She had that Southern accent point, and we all just, you know, we just laugh and laugh and laugh. And so those are little things I think was. So, you are the epitome of happiness. For me. And I am going to ask for is a great member. Okay, are there anybody who has not October birthday? Oh, Rosie, that's right. The 24th. Yeah. Would you like? Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday, Rosie.
Yeah. Halloween. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. So remember that. And actually, I think the 15th kind of still.
Yeah, yes. 15th or 16th, one of those, yeah. Actually, Wednesday. 15th, it's Wednesday.
Oh, but the most important point for. Jean with, this year, are you gonna have to ask to remind it class? Perhaps. Okay. It's as far as I've got. Yeah, well, I still have company. Yes, so, and I know you will let us know if we cancel. And on Tuesday, the Course of Miracles is back with running, and that is from 1 to 2:30. The speakers for this month, next Sunday, Charles is going to speak, and then on the 26th, Jean is going to speak. Third Sunday is beach fair. If you haven't checked for egg cartons, please make sure you give them to Maryland. And is there anything else? Mary, oh, Chair one, was on the concept or for, oh. With Catherine Hatch and I want to invite all of you to come a little earlier to church on second and fourth of September. We will be offering a group meditation of the guided and silent meditation. And for those of you who have not meditated from the seven, it's lovely. There's much more palpable energy, much easier to find that place of groundedness and centeredness. So we hope the join us at 2 weeks from now. And after service today, I will be offering a point of praise. For anyone who has something on their heart or just invite me.
Jen will be in the office down in the next building down the hall.
It occurred to me that today is a very special day because Teresa, being sister here.
Yeah.
You all may not know this, but Teresa, me, and I'd like to you come stand up.
Yeah, good idea.
And the two of them are the ones responsible for our newsletter.
Yay. Yeah, thank you both. Thank you, Rosie, for doing that. And then Mitzi, did you have something else? Oh, okay. And I would like now to call Reverend Charles forward. He will gift us with a prayer and help close us out.
Ooh. Um, it was the sweetest thing this morning. Robert called me and he wanted to make sure that I was okay, which was so sweet. And I, of course, said, "But Robert, how are you doing?" And what he said was, "The enormity of what happened is hard to take in." And that that's what he said. It's just a lot to take in. And so, what I'm so grateful for is that Susan's beloved nephew, Lee, is just came immediately, apparently in less than 24 hours. And that Lee took over, which is good. And Robert expressed great gratitude for Lee. And then I spoke with Lee and we prayed for everybody. And I just thought that was the kindest thing that Robert called me. So I know, I know it's day by day and hour by hour and just kind of adjusting to what happened. So I think holding Robert in our hearts, and if there's any small thing you can think of that maybe you could do, make soup or something to help them. This time is hard. We know that. And so we just surround them with love. Thank you, Sue.